Hello, fellow Gwent players. It is time to review some more custom cards. But before I start with that, you can submit your custom cards to Discord. If you submit them now, it might take 14 years for me to review them by the pace I'm going with these videos, but I can't do a custom review video every week because they are actually a lot of work in the editing process. So I'm also going to make my life a little bit more easy with the editing process, and if I misspeak today, I'll just leave it in, honestly. Unless it's like a really annoying one. In that case, I'll just maybe cut it out. Who knows? Let's just get into the cards. Here we have Ice Turasak, Veil. Deploy if you play Iced in the Skellige deck. Draw a card by your choice from your deck and discard one card from your hand and one from your deck. Whenever you discard a card, damage a random enemy unit ignoring its armor. If you play it in Northern Realms deck, boost a unit by 3 and give it shield whenever an allied unit gains shield, boost self by 1. So let's look at this from the Skellige perspective. So it's like a 6-point Skald, right? So like 6-point Skald draws 1, discards 1. Yeah. And whenever you discard a card, you damage a random enemy ignoring its armor. This card's kind of bad, honestly. I mean, it's good in Skellige. I don't think in Northern... by the way, yeah, this is a dual faction card. I don't think this card's good in Northern Realms, honestly. Like it seems very weak in Northern Realms, but in Skellige it could see play. It's just a bit too expensive at 12. Here we have Ceres Ancrate, Queen of Skellige, Veil Veteran. Deploy, spawn, and play a raid card from your starting deck. Devotion trigger the deploy ability twice whenever you play a clan unit. Damage an enemy unit by 1, ignoring its armor. Holy moly, isn't this card kind of busted? With the veteran tag as well. Like, it's a 6-point, play 2 raid cards from your deck. Jesus Christ, that is so broken. And then whenever you play a clan unit, it also damages an enemy unit, ignoring... Dude, this is like Skomegalol at its peak. Like... this is like Herald on like absolute steroids. I don't know what you were thinking when you made this card. It seems absolutely broken. Even at 13 provisions. Like this is just auto-included Skellige, bro. This card is just insane. Division Archer. Deploy damage 3 disloyal... Deploy damage 3 disloyal units by 1. Deathblow gives spying to a target for each unit that died. Okay. It's like a... isn't it like a Fergus? It's like a bad Fergus, I'd say. There needs to be more like this slowly like synergies in Nilfgaard. I don't know, man. Fergus is a good card. It's just like he's too synergy based. And if you can play like 2 copies of it, it's not really that worth it because... yeah, you can kill like 3 spies and get 3 more spies, but you need like seditious aristocrats on your side of the field, or the enforcers on your side of the field, or even thirsty dames. And those are already like your bronze like cards. They're all like 5 provision. They're not actual full provision cards, which would be a lot better, obviously. But yeah, I don't think a bronze like this could really support the spying archetype, which is kind of weak at the moment. And yeah, looking through some of the cards, I do realize a lot of the cards are Witcher cards, which is kind of funny because like they came out before the Way of the Witcher expansion. So I do have to mention as to why there are so many people who suggested like Witcher cards, or like why there's so many Witcher cards, is because, people just love Witchers in the Witcher card game. And now they got the Witchers, so we're going to look at like what they were thinking when, creating custom Witchers and seeing what they were thinking about. So here we have Trainee Sword Fighting. Deploy, damage an enemy unit by 1, or to give an enemy unit bleeding 2. Well, this card's kind of nuts, isn't it? Huh, this card is actually kind of insane. At 4 provision, this might just be auto-include in like a lot of decks. Like, Ceres would play this card 100%. Like, it's a 7 for 4. Like, almost unconditionally. Like, your opponent is not going to drop like a lock or 5 damage onto this to stop the 2 extra points, so it just becomes like a 7-point card. I don't know, if this was like a 3 power, 1 armor card, maybe then it would be fine, but at its current state, it's just better than every other like neutral 4 provision card. So yeah, that's kind of nuts. And here we have the trainee sign casting Zeal. Order melee, move an enemy unit to the ranged row and damage it by 2. Order ranged, damage 3 adjacent units by 1. Okay, this is a bit more balanced. It's not great necessarily. Its payoff isn't actually worth the 5 provisions. Like, the other card played for pretty much the same points, but was less conditional than this. This one's pretty conditional. It also dies a lot easier. And yeah, this is actually kind of a bad card, if I'm honest. At 4 provision, I can definitely see it being played in certain movement decks. It's like a bad Dragoon, but it might be able to like replace like a Pyrotechnician in that deck, but Pyrotechnician is just powerful, and I don't think you'll see replacing. Yeah, this card's just kind of bad, honestly. Trainee potion making, and that completes the Witcher trainee trio. Deploy boost adjacent Witchers by 1 and give them 1 armor. Order boost an allied unit by 2. So it plays for 7 plus 2, which is 9, which isn't terrible, but honestly, I could see this getting actually played in certain like Northern Realms decks. Like in NR Witchers, if this was 5 provisions, it'd be a lot better than the Mentor, which mulligans a card and has the Adrenaline 4 of boosting the mulligan card by 2. So yeah, maybe this card is okay. I don't think its stat line really allows it to be anything good though. If it was 4 power, 5 provisions, that's a whole different story. But at 6 provisions, you want your 6 provisions cards to be on the level of like Viper Witcher Mentor these days, and that card is just absolutely busted. And yeah, I guess trainee potion making won't make the cut with this current power creep. Faithful Mage Seeker. All Fire Sworns gain 2 armor. Wait, what? So, okay. Deploy spawn a Firesworn Zealot in this row. Devotion spawn 2 Firesworn Zealots in this row instead. So it plays for, let's just assume you're playing it in Devotion. It plays for 7, but it gives all your Firesworns 2 armor, which isn't actually that relevant. Like, it's supposed to play around Lacerate and like row punishes, but the thing is, you have the Firesworn, what's it called? The one with the 3 points and 1 armor. I don't know what they're called, but like they're the main like sworn cards that you can transform like the normal Zealots into with cards like Von Hurst or the Cleric. So this kind of is like those cards, like the Von Hurst or the Cleric, but it's kind of like a lot worse because it's 7 provisions. Yeah, this card will never see play, I think. It would need to be like a gold card, I think. Like, it would have to be a gold card, honestly. And it would have to have like a very different stat line for it to actually be playable. Like, as a gold with like 5 power, this will definitely see a bit of play in Firesworn. But as a bronze at 7, that's just never gonna happen. Bomb preparation. Create a neutral bronze bomb. Wow, this guy predicted the this guy predicted the Madoc meta. I mean, it's not really meta, but Madoc is quite popular at the moment, and he's honestly going to be an archetype that we'll see fleshing out in the future as well. They did buff a lot of bombs, and this card could be kind of scary. There's honestly not many bad hits you have right now with this. You're pretty much ensured to deal at least 4 damage with one of the choices. And you might also be able to like get like, you know, random value, like banishing, I don't know, a Crow Mother, a Roach, a Ceres, those things, or being able to purify Defender. That could be quite useful. This card's pretty crazy. I think if Madoc, like if this card was printed, I think Madoc decks would definitely play something like it. Yeah, they probably would play something like this. It's actually kind of crazy good. Wolf Witcher, another Witcher that was released before The Way of the Witcher was announced, obviously. Order damage an enemy unit by 2. Increase the number of targets by 1 for each adjacent Witcher. Well, the problem with this is that it's an order card. This card is, even with the Witchers now, it's super unplayable. Like, it's actually kind of funny that so many people have, like, suggested Witchers, or like have created like custom Witcher cards, because you can actually evaluate them nowadays, which is kind of funny. You couldn't evaluate them back before where the Witcher was released, so I'm actually glad I waited this long. But yeah, this card is complete ass. Other than that, like, I think this card is just complete ass. Like, it's an order, like it's a 3-power order. It's so easily dealt with. If it was like a deploy, I guess it would be better. But even then, I think its stat line isn't that great. Like, in the current, like, Witcher archetypes, there's definitely a reason to play this, especially in Northern Realms Witcher, where you're just, like, swarming Witchers anyway. Even with the Skellige Witchers, it's actually not that bad. So I'm gonna say this card's actually pretty good. Sorry, Jesus. I must say this card's pretty bad. Alright, and here we have the Nilfgaard Hanged Man. Order ranged. Seize 3 enemy units with 2 or less power at the end of your turn if order is not used. Boost up by 2? Holy, so he doesn't have Zeal, so it's an immediate 7? Bro, isn't this card just kind of busted? Let's talk about, like, mathematically, like, how good could this card be? Let's just say you're using it after, like, the first turn. So it's like a 7 that can yoink a 12? Dude, this is so broken. This card is actually kind of nuts. Holy moly. I mean, it's kind of like hard to set up at the same time though. But you're probably playing this with like a bunch of spies or like ways of damaging the opponent's units down. This card is just kind of insane if you think about it. Yeah, the card is just kind of insane. It would actually make Imprisonment very playable, because Imprisonment can very easily actually set this up because it's the only Nilfgaard leader that has damage attached to it. So that could be kind of interesting, actually. So Hanged Man, definitely a very, very broken card and should never see the light. If it was like 1 power, I guess it becomes a little bit of a meme card, but at 5 power, this card is just way too broken. And here we have Witcher Novice. Zeal Order. Damage an enemy unit by 1. Increase this amount by 1 for every turn this order ability remains unused. Deathblow boosts self by 1. What? Oh, okay. So you... Okay, I get it. I thought if he dies... I read the Deathblow as Death Wish. That made very little sense. So this is honestly a really cool design. Like, it's like a charge card, basically. It's like a card that gains a charge whenever a turn ends, basically. This card is like a lot easier, like, written, I think, with charges. Is like charge 1, gain a charge, at the end of the round, gain a charge, and then basically damage a unit by the amount of charges. So it's like a Redanian Archer at the end of the day, isn't it? But like a lot less easy to deal with, because you do need 5 damage or a lock on this. So yeah, it's very interesting design. I'm not sure how good it would be on a neutral card. It could actually see play on like a Northern Realms card at a bronze slot. The problem with like the Northern Realms like charge archetype is that they are stacked at the 5 provision part, but have nothing in like the 4 provision slot that could see any play. So yeah, that's why Witcher Novice isn't that great. I mean, this card has cool design. It's just like, you'd rather, like, if you have an ability like this, you do need to wait like 4 turns for it to actually be, or like have any consequence. It is definitely an interesting design, and it's something I could see in Northern Realms being used, but right now I don't think it's that great. Treacherous Hunt. Spawn 2 Witcher Novices in an allied row, then spawn a Forktail in the opposite row. Wait, so Forktail... Wait, what? Wait, so you spawn 2 of these novices. And then you spawn a Forktail. Oh, okay. So it like has a negative effect, I guess. So you're basically playing a spying Forktail for the opponent. On the opposite row. Yeah, opposite row is the enemy's row, right? The other row would be your row. So you're playing a 4 initially. Like tempo-wise, you're playing a 4, but you're playing 2 of these Witcher novices. And you could have like, this could be kind of funny in like a monster deck with like She-Troll and the Vran Warriors. It's a very specific card. And I'm not sure how good it actually is. Huh. This one's kind of hard to evaluate. This is kind of like it's not even a meta call. It's just very random design, honestly. But it does have certain synergies that could be quite interesting. Because also the Forktail ability, like, the thing is also, like, there's, like, anti-synergy with this, but also, like, there's a reason I think there's anti-synergy with this, is because the Forktail benefits from a long round where you play very little amount of units, where you use this sort of as a finisher, but basically take away points from the Witcher Novice. But, like, playing this, like, 2 turns before the end, your Witcher Novices are also, like, still getting good value, I'd say, for dealing 2 damage and then having a death blow ability maybe on that as well. So I'm honestly not sure how good this card actually would be. It's an interesting design for sure. And here we have Gaiten. Now we know Gaiten in another form, in, you know, actual Gwent. Like, this card actually exists in Gwent now. That's pretty cool. He thought it was going to be a neutral. Turns out it was a Scoia'tael card. Deploy damage an enemy unit by 2 and repeat twice. Gain bleeding 1 for each unique unit damaged. Okay, so wait, let me think about this. So you damage an enemy unit by 2 and you repeat it twice. So that makes it already a 10, right? Yeah, you do a 10 because you deal 6 damage, and then you gain bleeding 1 for each unique unit damage. So if you just damage a bunch of humans, which is the idea of this card, you play a 9 for 8. Which is, oh, it's unique unit. Okay, so it doesn't even talk about like tag. So it's very unlike, like, this is there for swarm, like swarm destruction or disruption. But isn't this card just like a very bad version of Lambert? Even Gimpy, I think, is better than this, if I'm honest. Because, like, it is very likely that it gains 3 bleeding, so it just becomes a 1 deal 6. It's like a 7 for 8. And that's just kind of bad. It requires your opponent also to have 3 units. Which, honestly, that is actually kind of a big if, honestly. Like, 3 units, like, in the short round, this card sucks. And even in, like, a long round, it isn't great. So, yeah, it's just kind of like a bad Lambert and Gimpy. And here we have Brehen with the art very similar to the one we see in the actual Gwent. Order damage an enemy unit by 3. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed, reset the order ability and gain Zeal. Oh, wow. Wait. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed. Oh, my. This card is nuts, isn't it? Like, the opponent just has to deal with this. Like, if this is behind, like, a defender, it becomes, like, a crazy, like, Sihil unit. It's basically like Sihil, but on a unit, which you can obviously interact with by locking it or destroying it. But this definitely requires an answer. It really requires an answer. Like, a way to play around this card would be, like, discarding cards. And it also, I mean, the card itself, like, if you think about, like, control and genuinely how control works, you wouldn't actually play this in control, since control relies a lot on you not actually playing anything that the opponent is able to destroy, but rather you destroying the opponent's units. Which is why the tactic of discarding cards is actually quite effective against control sometimes. And this card kind of, like, doesn't work with that. It could honestly just be good as a value card. Like, you could play this card in sort of like a Skellige deck as just a value card. But I'm not sure how good this actually would be if it existed. It seems very powerful, but I'm not sure how good it actually would be. Because, like, the gaining zeal part is incredibly strong. Because, like, you could technically, like, kill every unit on your opponent's side. This could be a game winner, right? If you're able to, like, kill a unit and you're able to line up all of this, you could. This could possibly be a board wipe if you played, like, second to last or third to last. Which is pretty ridiculous if you think about it. Like, it could just be like a 5-point shear that you have to wait for a turn. There's a lot of interesting ideas with this. Is a very crazy design, though. I don't think this card could see the light of day the way it is printed. Because of the 3 damage. 3 damage makes this card absolutely bonkers. Catachan Decoction. Alchemy. Boost an allied unit by 6. If it's a Witcher, also damage an enemy unit by 3. Ooh, okay. So it plays for 9 for 8, and that's just kind of bad, honestly. Yeah, it's just kind of bad. It's interesting, but it's kind of bad. I mean, if it was like 5, if it boosted an allied unit by 5, and if it was a Witcher, it also deals 4. That's a different story, but dealing 3 isn't. It's not that good, honestly. Letho Wanderer. Deploy, swap the power of 2 adjacent enemy units, then damage the first by 3. If it has armor, damage it by 5 instead. Deathblow, give bleeding 3 to the other. Swap the power of 2 adjacent enemy units. And damage the first. So that's kind of interesting. But it's so situational. It is ridiculously situational. I mean, honestly, is it though? Okay, it's not the worst. I'm not sure how to evaluate this card, though. It seems like very situational, though. Alright, here we have Eunod of Belhaven. This guy's also in the game as well, playing for the Destroy a Damaged Unit ability. So what does he do? What did the people predict him to do? Order lose all armor and damage an enemy unit by that armor. Death blow. Gain vitality equal to the amount of armor lost. So this is like Terror of the Sea, but on a neutral. Seems kind of bad. Yeah, it's just kind of like a Terror of the Sea. Yeah. It just feels like a Terror of the Sea at this point. Yeah, Terror of the Sea isn't good, so I don't think this is going to be good as well. I mean, it could be okay. It could be better than Terror of the Sea. But it's honestly not much better than Terror of the Sea. Troll Decoction. Boost a unit by 4 and give it Vitality 4. If it's a Witcher, also give it 2 armor. So there's an 8 for 6. This card's pretty... I mean, I think I reviewed this card, actually. I think I already reviewed this one. And I think... I'd say it's alright in, like, Symbiosis decks. Because it is kind of okay in Symbiosis decks. It's like a more cheap version of the Shaping... No, what's this? It is Shaping Nature, right? Yeah, that's the name of the card. And here we have Kaer Morhen Rookie. Order damage an enemy unit and self by 2. Whenever you play Witcher, boost self by 1. Alright. I mean, it's like a Pyrotech. Sorry if I'm yawning during this video. I'm kind of tired. I'm not going to cut out this yawning stuff, by the way. I want to not edit this too much. So yeah, Order, it's alright. Like, it's like, you can just kind of play it in Witcher decks. You could definitely play this in Witcher decks. Because it just is like a 4-point engine that boosts himself whenever you play a Witcher. Like, in Northern Realms, Witchers... I think this card could actually see play. This card could definitely see play, right? Moving on to Giant Troll Ogroid. Immunity. On turn and move to the row with the highest power if there is space. I'm guessing on turn end, move to the row with the... So it's like a Caldwell, but it's immune. So I don't know if this counts itself like Caldwell, because Caldwell doesn't count itself. It actually... does not count itself as the highest unit. So I'm not sure about Giant Troll, but sure, it's an interesting... I mean, it's quite literally Caldwell's ability. The Path. Play a Witcher unit from your deck. Well, that's kind of funny. This guy predicted Quen, but he thought it was going to be a special, not a 2-point unit with shield. Ha! You were wrong, sir. And here we have Ivar Evil Eye. Wow. I know that guy as well. Deploy. Give Cull to 2 enemy units. Cull. Status. If this unit is damaged, damage it by 5, ignoring its armor. If Cull destroys this unit, trigger the death blow of the unit that triggered it. Wait. Oh, okay. So it's like, alright. That makes sense. Okay, that's... Wait, but that's like... Is that like 2? Is it worth it on 2 enemies? Like, this feels kind of weak. At 13 provision, this feels really, really weak. Because it's very limited, right? You can just like add... Because you could say it technically plays for a 15, this card. That could trigger death blows. Which would be an interesting design, honestly. I do like the idea of Cull. Something that sort of works with death blows. But... I don't think this card's going to be any good. Or would be any good, even if Cull existed. Maybe at 10 provisions. I don't think at 13 this would see any play. At 10 it could be kind of funny. It could actually be kind of good at 10. But, you know, it is kind of limited to a certain extent. It is very good with cards like, what's it called? Gregor. Gregor's pretty good with this. Because it like gives him 6 damage. This is pretty good with Gregor, to be fair. And it's also kind of good with Sentinels. Sentinels are also very, very good with this. I like the idea of Cull. It's a very good idea. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't think this card would see play. Griffin School Nomad. Order, move an enemy unit to the other row and damage it by 1. Charge 1. Death blow, gain 1 charge. Wait, move an enemy unit to the other row and damage it by 1. Charge 1. Death blow, gain 1 charge. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, like, if you kill a 1-point unit, you can do it again. Which seems kinda bad. But it's a charge card, so it works with Northern Realms, right? With Northern Realms, this could actually be kind of decent. This would be a cool Northern... Honestly, if they printed a card like this is basically very similar, sort of like idea-wise, to the Griffin Witcher. But it's honestly cooler designed than Griffin Witcher. Because it actually, like... This actually is so cool, dude. I would love if, like, Griffin Witcher actually was this. Because, like, it has synergies with charges. And it just kind of works. Like, I don't think 5/6 is that good, though. It would have to be a bit different from the stat line. But I think the general idea is actually pretty cool. Like, as a Northern Realms card, I could definitely see this card becoming... something at least. And yeah, maybe it's kind of held back by the fact that it's charges, but it definitely could be an interesting card. And here we have Anna Henrietta. Veil, assimilate, deploy melee, spawn a Ducalgard in this row, deploy range, spawn and play Duchess Informant. Devotion, trigger both abilities. I think we saw this one already. But this is kind of broken, right? You're basically putting a 9-point Brathens, which is nuts. No way, it's a 10-point Brathens with where you don't actually have to like put the Duchess Informant into your deck. It's more expensive than Brathens, but it's pretty crazy good, right? This is still pretty crazy good. Bear School Protector. Defender. Oh, neutral defender. You guys and your neutral. It's a 6 provision defender? What the hell? Oh, expose, purify self. Okay, so I haven't actually read the card. I wanted to read the card before I actually look at this. So defender, deploy, gain 1 armor for each Witcher in this row. If there are no Witchers, damage self by 1. Expose, purify self. So... it's like, okay, it is not technically that good of a defender, but it's definitely very annoying to play against. If you're like it's not really about the fact that it's easily dealt with. It's just that if you have 2 defenders in your deck, that makes like deck building so much easier for certain strategies. And I think that's just a problem. Forest Troll, Ogroid, deploy damage an enemy unit by 3. Devotion, gain harmony. Okay. This is pretty good because it has the Ogroid tag, right? And if you play this in a harmony deck, that does seem pretty good, right? It does seem very, very good, actually. Like, You damage an enemy unit by 3, and then you just like have this Ogroid that triggers literally every harmony. Every harmony gets triggered by this. That's just good. Like, this card is just like value. Like, you'd probably just play this, right? This is a good 7-piece slot. Harmony doesn't have that many like good 7-piece slots apart from like Percival Schuttenbach. It really doesn't. It is really awkward around that part in the deck. So yeah, Force Troll is definitely an interesting one. Hemdall Chunk, Human Warrior. Deploy, give Rupture to all other units. For each unit destroyed, spawn a Dwarf and summon it to a random row. Dude, Dwarf being a 7-point token on Death Wish, spawn and play Camby. Dude, this card is so broken. Like, oh my god, I'm looking at the comments. Like, yeah, you can give your opponents Dwarfs too. But still, man, what the hell? Dude, how good is this with, like, Herald Houndsnout? Herald Houndsnout is busted with this card. Like, this card just seems crazy, man. Like, it's not about, like, if it's good or not. It's just, like, balancing this card becomes impossible because there's, like, you can't actually calculate how this card is going to go. Because it's just so circumstantial. It's really bad against things like Firesworn, I think. Yeah, against Fireswarm, this is so bad. Because, like, you kill all the Firesworn and then spawn the 7-point Dwarfs. Oh my god. That's so crazy, dude. This card is so stupid. This is honestly one of the dumbest cards I've ever seen. But I would really love for a card like this to exist in the game just to, like, trigger a bunch. Like, it would be so funny if Gwent would just add, like, 1 or 2, like, absolutely broken cards every month. Like, and then remove them, like they're just there for a month. And they're, like, completely broken and break every single meta. But every faction has, like, one of them. Like, that would be so funny if they just did that for 1 month. I wonder what that's going to be like. It's going to be really funny, actually, but... yeah, this card's kind of stupid, honestly. Siri Masochist. 14 power, 11 provisions. Deploy, force adjacent allies to damage this unit by an amount equal to half of their current power. Wait, so what if I don't have adjacent units? This is just a 14 for 11? And auto-include in monsters? Sweet. That seems very nice. Yeah, you just play this on an empty board and it's a 14 for 11. Seems kind of broken. I think you needed a second text for that. Yeah, probably definitely needed a second text for that because you could just play this on an empty board and, and it's a 14 for 11, dude. Like, if it, like, it should be like, if it doesn't work, like, if that doesn't happen, just, like, destroy self or something. I don't know. Like, because this could be good in, like, monsters where you play, like, Gurney's Fruit and, like, a token or something somehow. Yeah, something like that. It could be okay in, like, Arrakis Swarm, honestly. It becomes a 12 for 11 in the worst-case scenario. But it goes into your graveyard and gives your Osril a really big target to munch on. But yeah, the way this is written right now, it's just like a 14 for 11. If you're not an idiot, basically. Vesemir Housewife. Nice writing there. Deploy, if you control an OnlyFans account, spawn a cookie and summon it to this row. Cookie token, if this unit is on your side of the field, give Vesemir a cookie and boost them by 1. If your opponent taunts you, throw a cookie at them, which explodes after 2 turns and creates an ugly fragrance, which damages all units on this row by 11. Yeah, this seems kind of busted. Seems kind of busted, honestly. Feels good. Well, but yeah, like, it's gonna be hard to, like, for the game to notice if you have an OnlyFans account. I guess you have to link your GOG with your OnlyFans, and then they'll know. So that's gonna be interesting for all the Sims. Gwent is gonna be the official, like, Sims card game, which is kind of funny. Francesca Findebear. Veil. Deploy melee. Spawn and play a random bronze special card from your starting deck. Deploy range. Play a bronze elf from your hand and boost it by 2. Devotion, trigger both abilities. Whenever you play an elf or a special card, boost self by 1. Wait, so you play the card. You play a bronze elf from your hand and boost it by 2. That's like you're losing a card. You're literally losing a card with this. You're going down a card to play this card. That is a terrible play cost. Like, its ability is good, but going down is it worth going down a card for? I'm not so sure. Its melee is pretty good, but its ranged is just awful. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, I'm a gamer. A 5/7 armor for 13 provision. Gamer mass shooter. Mass shooter, destroy the board with mass shooting. Definition of gamer. See, the people that make these cards are kind of sad, aren't they? Like, what's funny about this? Enith. At the end of every ally turn, spawn a dancer on both sides of this card. Fee 3 gain shield. Deathwish, destroy all allied dancers. Well, isn't this just bad? Oh, at the end of every allied turn. Okay. Well, that's just bad. Like, this dies, all the other dancers die. If there was a way to transform dancers, that'd be pretty good. But you can transform it into cut up lackeys, I know. But that's like you're saving 2 dancers. But this card is so easily dealt with. This card is garbage. Straight trash. Useless. Get that out of here. Carson, human. But he's a monster. Okay. Deploy, spawn, and summon a soap. If it's in this row, then destroy Carson and lose the game. Soap, on turn and move this card to the opposite row. Wait, so if it's in this row, then destroy Carson and lose the game. Well, that seems funny. Level 100 Mafia Boss. Human Boss. Just so you know who's boss. Deploy, spawn, and play a 6-gun. 6-gun token, order, fire 3 bullets towards an enemy unit. Deathwish, put the Mafia Boss's ass in a rocket. Bullet token, whenever a bullet hits an enemy unit, damage it by 1. Increase the damage by 1 for each bullet fired during this game. Ooh. Okay. So you're this is like a folly board. Okay. So you're playing a 10. And then you're like playing a 1, 2, 3. Or like a 1, 1, 1. So it's already like a 13. Rocket on turn end, remove self and the units inside the rocket from the battlefield and travel to space. See, that I wonder what the animation of that looks like in the game, to be fair. But yeah. Nice. Cyrilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, Witcher Apprentice, Witcher. Deploy, damage an enemy unit by 3. Death blow, repeat the deploy ability, increase the damage by 1 on round end while in hand or deck transform. Oh, there's multiple cards. Wait, this already seems broken though. What the hell? You just need your enemy to have a 3, a 4, and a 5? What the hell? This card is just broken. This is like an infinite folly board that doesn't go lower. It increases the damage. Yeah, Death Blow, repeat the deploy ability and increase the damage by 1. That doesn't specify how many times you can trigger the Death Blow. It just says Death Blow. So you can keep Death Blowing with this card. So let's see what the final form is, because I don't care about the second form. Veil, deploy, damage an enemy unit by 6. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed, boost self by 2. Whenever you play a damage a random enemy unit. Wait, whenever you play a Witcher, damage a random enemy unit by 2. Wait, so this is different. Wait, this is way different. Hold up. But it's already at 12. That like deals 6. And it's already an 8 deals 6. Like, that's just broken, right? Wait, let me just see the second form now. Veil, deploy damage enemy by 4. Increase the damage by 1 for each adjacent Witcher. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed, boost self by 1. In round end, while in or hand deck to transform. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So the first card is absolutely just like, okay, I win round 1 on even. And then it doesn't matter anyway. This card's just like a win on even round, like round 1. It's so broken. Really, really broken. Thornwald Witcher. Oh, I don't think we got this card actually, so... Hey, CDPR, what are you doing? Where's the witches? Where's the Thornwald? Deploy. Gain 2 armor for each adjacent witcher. If there's a witcher on both sides of this card, gain zeal. Order duel an enemy unit. That seems pretty good. Seems like a Seltkirk on steroid. I mean, now it seems like a steroided Seltkirk. Like, this card would be absolutely broken in this current meta, huh? Like, Northern Realms Witchers would definitely play this card, right? It seems pretty good. I feel like this card seems pretty damn good with Northern Realms Witchers. But at 12 provisions, it's pretty expensive, to be fair. It is kind of expensive at 12 provisions. Maybe people might consider it, but I think at 12 provisions is actually a bit too overcosted. At 11, I think it would be more, like, good. But yeah, I mean, it's still, like, can duel a unit, so that's kind of ridiculous. But I think at 12, it actually seems fair, so to say. Merton, Witcher. Deploy. If there's a Witcher on both sides of this card, gain immunity. Order, reset the power of a unit. Okay, so it's like a Spores, huh? But it requires your Witchers to have stuff. It's like a Baron, right? It's like a Baron that has an upside of gaining immunity, which is kind of broken. But yeah, it actually seems kind of decent. I mean, you'd probably still play like Peter Sar if you want this effect in Nilfgaard, because you just have it as a deploy. So yeah, I mean, sure. Alright, next up is Bruver Hoog. Dwarf, deploy, choose 1, strengthen self to 6 and gain resilience. Spawn and play Golden Throff. Order, give 1 armor to the allied unit. Wait, give 1 armor to the allied unit. What's the allied unit? Okay. If it dwarf, give them 2 cooldown. What? Oh, give them 2 armor. Cooldown 2 whenever you play a dwarf. Decrease cooldown by 1. Devotion, give it boost 1. What? Golden Froth turns into a nature card as well. Spawn ale on allied. What the hell is this? I wish I could tell you something, but I have no idea what this actually does right now. So it gains resilience. It plays a Golden Froth. And it has a cooldown of 2 to give 1 armor to an allied unit. And if it's a dwarf, it gives it 2 armor. Yo, this card's friggin' broken. Like, actually broken. Dude, this is so good. How is this balanced? Wait. Okay, so deploy, choose 1. Do I choose the order? What do I guess I choose between strengthen and gain resilience, or to play and like spawn a Golden Froth. Dude, I have no idea what you're trying to do with this card. Like, I know what you're trying to do, but it just, like, the wording is just awful. Dana Madb. Veil, deploy, choose 1. Play a Scoia'tael card from your deck with 4 provision cost or less. Increase this value if you control unique tag on the board. Okay. Okay. Create and play a Bronze Beast Scoia'tael unit. Transform self into Lili's the Order ability. Lil has Harmony. Boost unit to the right by 1 whenever you play a Scoia'tael unit. Devotion adds Symbiosis. So it's a Symbiosis Harmony. Honestly, okay, so I'm gonna ignore like the first thing, because that first ability seems kind of broken. But like, I mean, we have the Dana card right now with Harmony anyway, but that I would like an engine in Scoia'tael that had both Harmony and Symbiosis. Even though the 2 are kind of anti-synergy, I would really like something like this, being able to like, oh, they are so super anti-synergetic, aren't they? Yeah, maybe that's not the best idea. Like, Devotion on this card makes like it's pointless, right? Like, Symbiosis and Harmony are really, really anti-synergetic. But that Lil ability seems pretty good. In general, I think this card would be auto-include in pretty much any deck, because it triggers Harmony twice. It could technically trigger Harmony twice. Or it could create a Bronze Beast. Why would I ever try and do the second ability? I'm always going to do this first ability. But yeah, this card would be auto-include in Scoia'tael Harmony decks for sure. Eithne, Nature Gift. Symbiosis. Deploy. Choose one. Spawn and play Dryad's Caress. Spawn and play Broccolon Blessing. Order transform a Dryad unit into Young Dryad without changing their power cooldown 2 whenever you play a nature card. Oh my god, this card is kind of ridiculous. What does Broccolon Blessing do? Damage unit by 3, Death Blow, spawn a Young Dryad. Devotion spawn 2 instead. Holy Jesus. Yo, this is crazy. I love how with your deploy, choose one. There's one that's like okay, and the other one is just busted. I love that. Like, that's some brilliant like design right there. Like, have two abilities where literally one is quite literally useless compared to the other one. Like, I can see a situation where Dryad Caress might be handy, but if my 10-point unit is about to get poisoned, I'm still playing this Broccolon Blessing. I don't even give a damn, dude. I actually wouldn't give a damn. Alright, here we have Philavandrel and Fidel. I don't know. You guys need to work on that sort of design. Deploy, choose one, boost 2 units in your hand by 2. Spawn an Elven Saber. Spawn and play Torque. Elven Saber, nature, damage enemy by 2. Death Blow, boost a unit in your hand by 3. Devotion, always trigger Death Blow, so it's like a bad circle of life. Torque, Sylvan Disloyal, boost a unit in the opposite row by 1. Death Wish, boost adjacent units 2 by 1. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Devotion, boost 2 units in the opposite row by 1. Okay. I see. This is probably the weakest one out of these Scoia'tael leader cards. Yeah, this is definitely the weakest. I don't think this would see play in pretty much any deck. This Torque card doesn't feel that great. Like, the tempo on this is just awful, right? This is awful tempo. For 11 provisions, I want at least some tempo out of it. Or a higher payoff, at least. Eldane, deploy, choose one. Spawn and play Elven Scout. Create and play a Bronze Trap. Order transform self to Eldane Tranquility. If you control only Elf, gain Zeal. Elf Veil, order damage a unit by 1 once all charges have been exhausted. Spawn an Elven Deadeye 2. Melee Rogue, increase the initial damage by the number of charges you have. Charge 3. Okay, this one seems kind of ridiculous, huh? Yeah, this one seems pretty busted. This one seems pretty crazy. Now, I'm not sure how good it would actually be with traps, but being able to like spawn and play a incinerating trap or just a crushing trap seems kind of broken. Yeah, it seems kind of good. Like, even an incinerating trap on a body seems very, very good. Like, that just seems kind of good, honestly. Yeah. Alright, and the last one is Francesca Findabear. Veil, deploy, choose one. Spawn and play Francesca Sorceress. Transform self into Francesca Duchess. Okay. So, Francesca Sorceress is disloyal. Every opponent turn on turn end, damage adjacent units by 1. Devotion, if the opponent passes, move this unit to the opposite row, lock it and boost it by 4. So it's a 9 already? I mean, it can, like, the opponent can lock this, right? But it can also really easily play around it. But you can obviously also move it. And let's see what Francesca Duchess does. Elf, every ally turn, give Vitality 1 to adjacent units. Devotion, order, draw a card. Then move a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Cooldown 2. Okay, very reminiscent of Mulligan Francesca. Oh, man. Mulligan Francesca. That brings back some memories, dude. Oh, man. Now you make me... you're making me nostalgic, bro. Mulligan Francesca. Probably my favorite my favorite Gwent deck ever. Like, honestly, yeah. Francesca Mulligan into Elias. Oh, dude. Oh, the nostalgia. Oh, it's all coming back to me. Oh, why did you have to do this to me? I'm so sad now. I miss some of old Gwent, at least. That is one of the aspects I missed of, like, the Mulligan Scoia'tael. Yeah, Mulligan Scoia'tael was a cool deck. Oh, well. Guess this Francesca card... I mean, this Francesca card is not great. Honestly, I think this card's pretty bad. Maybe the Duchess is alright. It's Like, the only thing I read when I see, like, give Vitality 1 to Jason units is just, like, a thirsty dame being on the opponent's side of the field and just enjoying her wine in hand and just, like, laughing at your Francesca Duchess giving you poison targets and giving her passive abilities at the same time. All right, we have some reworks on leaders. This one is Stockpile. Charge 3. Order, give it to an allied unit 3 charges and boosted by 1. At the start of the game, every unit with charge in your deck gains 1 additional charge. Yes! That seems pretty busted. Cards like Foltest Pride will finally see a lot of play with this. Like, you're almost able to board wipe with Foltest Pride, I think. Because, like, you have what? You have 9 charges, right? You have 9 charge. That's 18 damage. You have 18 damage on Foltest Pride. Which is, like, multi-use. You don't have, like, 18 at once. You can, like, switch it up. This is, like, an 18-point leader ability. Wait, no, but it also gains an additional charge. Dude, this is, like, 20 points on a leader. Which, like, literally, it's like a freak show on steroids at that point. You just wipe the board on the opponent's side of... Like, your opponent, you can literally just play a bunch of soldiers in your deck and then finish them off with a Foltest Pride. And then it's game over, right? Like, you're going to lose... Or, like, you're going to win a lot of games with if this was the leader ability. Like, this is an absolutely nutty ability. It would actually put Stockpile... Like, the Provision 15 as well, bro. This is, like... This is actual CDPR balancing right here. Like... I'm not sure if, like, even CDPR would know that this is just broken. Like, this is so bloody busted. 3 charges, man. And it boosts you. Oh, dude. Foltest Pride, dude. Oh, my God. Foltest Pride. I'm just thinking about Foltest Pride, and it's just, it's so scary, dude. Order. Boost a unit in your hand by 4 and give it Adrenaline. At the start of the round, refresh this ability. Adrenaline, status that cuts by half every instance of damage the unit with it takes. Wait. The actual madman put Adrenaline and thought it was going to be that. That's kind of funny. I actually find that pretty cool. Like, it's such a basic, like, wording. But it's still, like, what are the odds that CDPR actually added something called Adrenaline to the game very recently? Like, that's actually kind of cool. But yeah, this ability seems kinda weak. Like, you half the damage on the card that you give this to. But that doesn't make it better, honestly. It still can get locked and heat wave, right? So that doesn't really make a difference, honestly. And the last of the reworks for these leaders is Carapace. Charge 2, order boost an allied unit by 2 and give it 2 armor. These values are raised by 1 for every Wild Hunt card in your starting deck. Wait, what? Every 3 Wild Hunt cards. So you have 25 cards in your deck. If 24 are Wild Hunt cards, this increases by 8. Jesus Christ. That's insane. I mean, you can obviously put, I think, an entire deck of Wild Hunt cards. I don't think that's possible. But I mean, even like 9 alone is pretty good here, because then you can give them 5 and 5. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Is it better than current Carapace? Carapace is a very good leader right now. And I don't think it needs a rework like this. But this is a funny little ability. I would like a leader ability that works with Wild Hunts. But I guess we have the Frost leader, so that's fine, I guess. And yeah, with that, I'm going to wrap up this custom card review. I know it wasn't a lot, but I'm going to try and make these more frequently. Maybe try and make them like, I don't know, twice a month or so. So that I can get faster progress with this, because there is still a lot of cards I have to review. But I felt like today I'm just going to do a little short custom card review. There were some interesting abilities there, but in overall, nothing too sort of fascinating or too amazing. There was some interesting like things, but apart from that, I feel like we're gonna have some more interesting ones in the next video. Hopefully, who knows? But yeah, till then, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more Gwent content, and I'll see you soon.